If you've ever been with a narcissist or you're with one now, you know that there's a cycle of relationship abuse that happens. First, you have your love bombing or your idealization phase, and then you go through the devalue and the discard, and it's an ongoing cycle, and often it continues for years in that way, right? Well, there are certain things that narcissists will say to keep you hanging around, and that's what we're talking about today at queenbeing.com. Certain things that narcissists say to keep you hanging around. So let's get started. My name's Angie Atkinson, and on this channel I offer free daily video coaching to help you discover, understand, and overcome narcissistic abuse in toxic relationships. I like to call it toxic relationship rehab. Does that sound good to you? If so, hit that subscribe button and let's get going. If you've ever been with a narcissist, you know that even once they end that whole relationship, chances are they're going to come running back to you at some point and try to hoover you. So today we're going to talk about things a narcissist will do to keep you around. So you probably already know about gaslighting if you've been watching my channel very long, and if you don't, let me quickly tell you. It is a technique that narcissists will use to convince you that their perception of the abuse or lack thereof is what's true, that you have issues, that you're too sensitive, so on and so on and so on. So basically they're trying to make you doubt yourself and your own perceptions of the world that you live in, because they want you to think you're the crazy one, you're the one with the problem. They want to keep you hanging around by controlling you into believing that you're crazy, really. But don't fall for that one, because the fact is you're in a toxic relationship, and the fact is that you're not crazy. You're right. They are doing things that are not acceptable to you. So number one. Number two, they'll tell you, you're my everything. You're everything I ever wanted. And this is especially true when you get to the place where you begin to stand up for yourself and try to take back your life. That's about the time they're going to change their tune. They go back into the love bombing or the hoovering phase. They start to idealize you. They can't live without you. Of course, as usual, if you decide to stay, guess what? They're back to being their same old narcissistic self. Typical and unfortunate. How many of us have fallen for that again and again? We keep hoping, oh my gosh, it's going to get better, but rarely is that actually the case. Number three, they apologize for hurting you, and then they say, I promise I'll make it up to you. I really will. I'm pretty sure that narcissists always use this tactic in relationships. I think it's part of the cycle, but as always, the truth is, even if they're good for a short period of time, as soon as they know that they're back in and they've got their hooks firmly in your soul again, guess what? It's back to usual. It's back to them running the show. It's back to them manipulating you emotionally and treating you like crap. It's the same old, same old. They don't change. Next up, they'll tell you, you know what? I knew for sure that I shouldn't have come back to you if you guys do split up and get back together. Or I've always known you weren't right for me. I've always I've always regretted being with you. And it's, and you're thinking to yourself, well, how is that a tactic to keep me around? Even though it feels like the narcissist is discarding you, there's like this part of your subconscious that needs to prove them wrong. You want to prove them wrong. And so you do everything you can to make it work. You do all the things you're supposed to do. When they say you're too picky, you have no opinion anymore. If they say you're too jealous, you accept it when you watch them flirt with other people, and you tell yourself that that's normal and healthy. Or you walk in on them, looking at porn or something, and you pretend that it's okay with you, even though it isn't. Or you catch them, shopping and buying all the things and spending all your money, and you're like, well, what? I told you, we agreed that you weren't going to spend all my money anymore. And then you're supposed to pretend that everything's okay. You try to redeem yourself in order to prove to them that you are in fact good enough for them, that you are in fact the person they should be with. All this proves to the narcissist is that they're the awesome, amazing person they thought they were, and that they're superior to you, and that clearly everything is your problem. They see you attempting to win them back as you being weak, you thinking they're so amazing that they're worth putting up with that crap for. And then they pick up on those feelings of you feeling inadequate, invalidated, etc. And guess what? Back to manipulation, back to gaslighting, back to abuse. Don't fall for it. Next up, they'll be like, hey, let's just be friends. Now, I did a whole video on this the other day, so I'm not going to go into all the details, but basically, if a narcissist says, hey, let's just be friends, that means, hey, let me keep you in my circle of supplies so that when I need you again for whatever I use you for, you'll be there and you'll like it. Don't fall for that. It's not good. Doesn't work. Next up, if a narcissist cheats on you, they'll say something like, hey, we were on a break. You guys remember that episode of Friends where Ross was like, we were on a break after one day of being broken up or whatever. You know, they'll say, I don't love that person. I was just with them because I was thinking of you the whole time. Cheating is cheating. And for me, it's a deal breaker. So if it's a deal breaker for you, don't fall for that crap. Another thing narcissists will say is, hey, let's go to counseling. Number one, that sounds great. And you're like, oh my gosh, this could really work. Here's the fact. They have abused you. They have ignored you. They have devalued you. They have invalidated you. They have treated you like crap. And when you go to the counselor, there is a percentage of a chance that the counselor will see right through them and tell them so, and in which case you can expect the narcissist to go, that counselor sucks, let's leave, or let's not go back there. If they don't see through them, then chances are they will engage in unintended victim blaming. So be careful. Narcissists will also use the therapist situation to triangulate you. They will want you to feel not good enough. They will use the therapist to teach you that you don't deserve to be loved the way that you want to be loved. The therapist may end up telling you, you know, maybe you could just lighten up a little bit, because they use this as an opportunity to prove you wrong and prove them right. And gaslighting, manipulation, nothing is beyond them. And because some therapists aren't familiar with NPD and may not recognize the abuse, you may end up being the victim, and the narcissist may end up, the narcissist may victimize you further through these counseling sessions. So be aware of that, be careful. I have a video on how to choose a therapist that understands narcissistic abuse, so keep that in mind as well and take a look at that. Quickly, just to read, sort of define hoovering. It is a technique that was named after the famous vacuum cleaner company, and it's one of many common tactics that narcissists use to get us back or keep us around. So it's when they kind of suck us back in. They suck us back into the relationship or some version of that. Often it starts pretty innocently, it's kind of subtle, but the main reason for this particular technique is to regain control of you, of the supply that they're reaching out to and hoovering. It usually starts after the devalue and the discard phases in the abuse cycle, or when the silent treatment has stopped giving the narcissist some sort of weird pleasure, and when they're ready for more supply from you, the narcissistic supply of choice, at least at that moment. It might start when you leave the narcissist and they fear you won't return, or it might start when you threaten to leave the narcissist. The idea here is the narcissist wants to establish, maintain, or reestablish contact with you in order to get that narcissistic supply that you're so good at providing. It's pretty dangerous because once a narcissist, like I said, once they get back into your good graces, you'll be love bombed, hear the promises of days ahead that are going to be better, everything's going to be wonderful, and sadly we all know it doesn't last. What happens is, what I just told you, they start this cycle. So now that you know what it is, how do you deal with it? First of all, don't take the bait, because if you do take the bait, you might end up allowing the narcissist to continue to cross your boundaries for the rest of your life. Listen, don't stop taking care of yourself in favor of the narcissist's needs, okay? And I'm going to give you 10 quick guidelines on what you can do to avoid being hoovered back in. Number one, do not let your boundaries be changed. Do not let your boundaries be broken during the hoovering phase. It's really easy to give in, so please just don't do it. Number two, if you've put safeguards in place or consequences in place because of the narcissist's bad decisions, keep them in place, even and especially during hoovering. Number three, you need to know that this phase will end and you'll be back to normal status with the narcissist at some point if you fall for it. Look at previous patterns if you're not sure, and they might give you an idea on how long this phase is going to last. Number four, make a special effort to keep busy, maintain your activities, your relationships with other people who are not toxic, and even increase the engagement with those healthy situations as you move forward in order to strengthen your recovery efforts. Number five, a lot of times we use hoovering to bargain with our narcissists. We try to create positive change in our relationships during this time because narcissists seem so receptive when they're hoovering us, don't they? More so than usual. But you have to understand that during this time, any change that actually comes about is going to be temporary and it doesn't change for good. You're going to be setting yourself up for disappointment. Number six, you have to remember that as much of a jerk as a narcissist can be, they are a person with a personality disorder. Mood swings and rapidly changing ideals are a big part of that. Number seven, remember that knowledge is power. You have to educate yourself on NPD. You have to make an effort to understand what you're really dealing with. Remember, understanding can lead to overcoming. Number 8, don't allow yourself to depend on the narcissist emotionally. They're going to disappoint you every single time, especially when it matters the most to you. The hoovering phase can totally cloud your judgment. You might even end up setting yourself up for some real emotional devastation if you're not careful. Don't allow your narc to lull you into a sense of security and intimacy that is false, okay? Take care of yourself. Your life might literally depend on it. And finally, number 10, understand this deal for what it actually is. The narcissist does not love you because the narcissist isn't capable of normal human love. They love you like a cell phone. Remember that video that I did? In fact, unfortunately, you become a pawn in the narcissist little game. So listen, get off the roller coaster while you can, as soon as you can. Go no contact or low contact. If you aren't able to be completely no contact, at least use the gray rock method when you do have to deal with them. The bottom line is that the one thing you can count on with a narcissist is they do not change. They might get better at hiding their true selves for a while. They might pretend to change for a while just to get you back, but they certainly don't ever actually change, so don't fall for it. So now it's time for the question of the day. And the question of the day is, have you experienced hoovering before? What kinds of things did a narcissist tell you to keep you around? And do you have any advice for your fellow survivors on this topic? Leave your comments below and tell me what you think. Let's get a good discussion going here, all right? Thoughts and experiences in the comments below. All right, that's all I've got for you right now. Have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for being a part of my day and a part of my life. And hey, thanks for letting me be a part of yours. It really does mean a lot to me. I'll see you soon.
It's my mission to teach others what I know to be true. You really can create the life you want. Take care of your body, take care of your soul, nurture the real you, and introduce him or her to the world. Be comfortable in your own skin and in your place in this world. Take your spot, take it now, and the universe will take its cue from you. You feel me? If so, subscribe to my channel. Let's get it done together.